It is stated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that everyone has the right to security, protection, dignity, property, and food. Everyone has a right to be treated like human, yet the homeless are often treated like animals instead of people in need. In the summer of 2017, I went through Matthew 25:40, which was a compassion experience where I lived in solidarity with the poor. I, along with others, slept in a cardboard box, was unable to shower, and fed and ate with the poor at a church in Painesville, Ohio. We also began planning for a Solidarity Village, which is to come in spring of 2019 to NDCL. From this experience, I witnessed many of the issues of being poor and homeless. The first night, we slept in cardboard boxes outside of NDCL. Temperatures were low, and we were all very cold. We were given the full homeless experience, especially when the police showed up to tell us to move our structures because we couldn't sleep there for the night. Some of us had to completely rebuild a new home, but we all worked together to provide a form of safety for the night for everyone. Throughout the night, I had still felt vulnerable and weak. I was cold and scared. I was scared of being told to move again. I was scared of being attacked by an animal. I was scared that I was having this much trouble for one night while others had this experience every night. I quickly realized how hard it was to sleep like the homeless. Regardless of how I felt, I knew my experience was still better than the average homeless person's experience, which includes mental illness, abuse, harassment, and medical problems. I experienced not having security. Missing a simple shower made me lose some of my dignity, one of the basic human rights. I began to understand the injustices faced by the homeless, but there was more to come that affected the way I feel about the injustices faced by the homeless. We had also heard from many of the Sisters of Notre Dame who had shared with us their experience working in poor areas in India, Nicaragua, Wayne County, and Guatemala. The information they shared is helping us form the Solidarity Village. This village will be almost like a hands-on museum, as the individual can walk through the building and experience what it's like to live in these poor areas. The Solidarity Village will be built in the spring of 2019, and I am excited to share the knowledge I learned during Matthew 25:40 to help build the village and change others' views on the poor and the homeless. The impact of this overall experience really hit home when I ate dinner with a man named Steve at Carpos in Painesville. He had no home, wore the same clothes every day, and loved to read. He told me his favorite class was astronomy. Steve could knit, and as we talked, he was telling me about the blankets he makes for his friends so they could stay warm. Steve, despite having almost nothing, was concerned for others more than himself. He could have been knitting something for himself, but instead was knitting a blanket for others. This was the moment I felt uncomfortable with who I was. I had jackets, blankets, a home, safety, and I took it all for granted. I was selfish because I was missing one shower and was complaining, even though my situation was only temporary. Steve had much less for a much longer time, yet he was still happy and loving as ever. Because of Steve, the overall experience of this weekend had really impacted the way I view others, especially the poor and vulnerable. I want to make a change, and hopefully I can share my experiences from Matthew 25:40 with others, not only now, but throughout my lifetime. The main thing people should take away from my experience is that the homeless and the poor are just as human as we are. They, like Steve, have as much love, if not greater love, for others as any one of us do. We should take action to ensure no one feels vulnerable, scared, or less dignified over their quality of life, because we are all made in the image of God. God is so beautiful, and since every human, despite race, gender, social status, or anything else for that matter, is made in God's image, we are all so beautiful. We should take time to get involved with helping the poor gain back their human rights of security, food, dignity, safety, and much more. I think everyone should try to get involved in the Solidarity Village project so they can experience the same breakthroughs I did on my Matthew 25:40 retreat. With the growing awareness of the injustices faced by the homeless, we can work to give them the rights they deserve.